Alrighty guys, what is going on everybody? Welcome back here to another tropical weather update. Hope you guys are doing good out there. Glad to have everybody. Let's go ahead and jump our way over here to the main screen, my friend. Hope everyone's doing good. This little piece of hair has been bothering me all day long, so yeah, I just wanted to mention that straight off the bat, just to, you know, just take out my aggression on my hair. I do need to get a haircut, which I'll be doing that soon. Anyways, completely off topic. What's up, everybody? Hope everyone's doing good. Let's go ahead and see who we got here for today. We have Andrea, we have Weather, we have TRG, we have Slave to the System, we have Street, we have Angelina, we have Jesse, we have Rich, we have Julia, we have Andrea. What's up, guys? Hope everyone's doing good. Glad to have y'all here for another weather update. So, right now, Bermuda's getting impacted by the storm. We're talking tropical storm winds ranging between 39 and 56 miles per hour, kind of those outer bands in general. Like I said, right now we are watching this system here with sustained winds of 90. We're talking sustained winds of 90 with gusts up to 115 currently kicking off here at the moment. This system is expected to remain a Category 1, which it is right now. It is a Category 1, you know, right now. You know, and it will be this way for a couple of days. Now, here's the thing. As we were talking about yesterday, we do have ourselves some overall hurricane watches that were in place, which I'm going to go ahead and show you guys here in a second. But we do have hurricane watches that are in place. But like I was explaining to you guys, it's like I don't know if those are ever going to be turned into warnings, considering the fact that, you know, this system is going to be borderline tropical storm to hurricane. So, like I said, you know, it's a little bit unknown right now, but we do have hurricane watches in effect for basically the central northern side of Maine, obviously the southern coast of New Brunswick here, as well as western sides here of, you know, like I said, western sides here of Nova Scotia here. So those areas we have hurricane watches where hurricane conditions are possible. But the newly issued things, as we got here, obviously Bermuda has a tropical storm warning across these areas here in that yellow. So that yellow circle is showing you guys where the tropical storm force winds are located. So you can obviously see that we have a really large area of tropical storm force winds, and Bermuda is caught up into that. You know, tropical storm conditions are going to be around for a while across Bermuda for the next, you know, day or so. So obviously Bermuda's got to be watching out for this. I mean, they're getting some really nasty waves too with the system in general. A bit of surging could be expected. We'll talk about the surging across the northeast here in a minute. But yeah, we also have ourselves some tropical storm warnings now in effect for areas here by Cape Cod. We now have warnings in place. Basically saying that tropical storm conditions is expected. You know, this is kind of, going to be the heaviest right around the morning for Saturday. I'm going to try to be live for the morning of Saturday. I'm going to wake up, probably go live at that time. It's kind of what I'm thinking, maybe around 8, 9 o'clock or so to go live. Whenever the system does actually, you know, decide it wants to kick off here in general. But like I said, yeah, we definitely do have a lot more watches, and the first set of warnings that just got issued, or just started getting issued, I should say, for portions here of the Northeast. You know, we're talking Cape Cod area here. We are now under tropical storm warnings. Let's go ahead and see here. Let's see. Lisa says, hey, everyone, what's up? Hope you're doing good. Let's see. Tracy says, hello from England. What's up, Tracy? Hope you're doing good. Glad to have you here. But anyways, let's go ahead and hop our way over here to the storm surge. In terms of the latest and greatest, they have not really changed much on here. From yesterday's update, I mean, for the most part, like I said, the heaviest storm surge is going to be expected across Cape Cod. I mean, we're talking 2 to 4 foot above sea level is expected. The worst is going to be right around the morning of Saturday, like we were explaining here. We're going to be having ourselves a lot of those winds really pushing against, like I said, really pushing against the side here of Cape Cod. Because like I said, obviously we have the counterclockwise rotation with these systems. That's going to be driving all that water straight down into Cape Cod. So that's going to allow for, 2 to 4 foot above sea level to be possible out there. Let's see here. Hope says, good afternoon. What's up, Hope? Hope you're doing good. Says your name. Let's see here. Why has that hurricane been out there for like 2 weeks or more, it seems? It's been a while. It's been a while. I was looking. We actually been tracking this thing for like nearly 12 days now, I think. It's been a long time. This system's been here for a while. But like I said, it's definitely something. Oh, the sound. Yeah, it's my fan. Sorry about that. Let me fix that. Hopefully that's... Hold on. Maybe. This thing makes some weird noises. Oh my gosh. Okay. Is it good? I think it's good now. Anyways. Paul says hello or evening from England. What's up? Hope you're doing good. Let's see here. Let's see. Ava, what's up? Hope you're doing good. But anyways, like I was explaining, guys, I mean, we are basically seeing 2 to 4 foot of storm surge across Cape Cod. Now, areas here by, southern Long Island, we're kind of talking right around 1 to 2 foot of, surges being a possibility there. So we are still expecting a little bit of, above sea level rise. Same thing for, like, portions here along Connecticut's coast overall. We are talking 1 to 3 foot. 1 to 3 foot of surging across those regions out there. And obviously, like I said, for the coastal New Hampshire and coastal Maine, the entire coast here, we're talking about, 1 to 3 foot of surges being a good possibility. So, I mean, obviously, yeah, I mean, it's kind of more in the mild sense of surging, but whenever it comes to Cape Cod, it's a little bit more serious out there, and that's something we need to continue watching. They did update the rainfall potential here. Obviously, I'm surprised that they added, Nova Scotia in the 4 to 6 inch range. I mean, because, like I said, considering we're going to get a lot of dry air on the storm on the eastern side, particularly. But, for the most part, we are talking, at least an inch or so to be basically just from eastern New Hampshire throughout eastern portions here of Massachusetts, and basically going eastbound. So then, of course, we have ourselves, areas like Cape Cod. We have near Boston. We have a lot of central eastern portions of Maine here overall, which, is in that range of around 2 to 4 inches of rainfall being a possibility. And, of course, we have ourselves a little sliver here for like the extreme eastern side, the extreme eastern coast here of Maine in general. We're talking 4 to 6 inches now. A big uptrend, a big update here coming through with this latest upgrade, or just latest update, I should say. So, like I said, obviously a little bit more rain is expected out in those regions, and we definitely need to be looking out there for that. Here's your probability of tropical storm force winds. I mean, obviously, right now it's pretty low, but that's obviously going to be growing in probability. I mean, look how massive the system's at. I mean, like I said, this system right now is absolutely a beast. I mean, look at this thing. So the red's showing those hurricane force winds, and the yellow's showing those tropical storm force winds. Like I said, Bermuda is starting to get those tropical storm force winds right now, which is pretty crazy. Let's see here. What happens to Lee when impact us here in the... Let's see, in regard to the jet stream. So you mean like later on in time? Let me actually hop you over here to the spaghetti models, or not spaghetti models, the cone. We'll look at the spaghetti models here in a minute, but in terms of the cone right now, we are talking, like I said, that's the reason I don't know if they're going to have hurricane warnings or not. I mean, they have watches, but like I said, when it comes to it, it looks like it's going to be making landfall nearly upper tropical storm, kind of here for the, right around the evening time of the 16th. We're talking sustained winds of 65 with gusts getting up to 75. And as it works its way over Prince Edward's Island, it's obviously going to be losing a bit of strength here. At this point, expected to be sustained winds of 50 with gusts up to 65 in general. And of course, working its way continuously more to the east here, going over Newfoundland, those regions there. And obviously, at this point here for the 18th in the morning, we're talking sustained winds of 40 with gusts up to 50. So that is right now in terms of the cone. I mean, we've actually come to a pretty good agreement overall, you guys. Like I said, we actually have a pretty decent agreement overall of where this thing's going to be making landfall now. Like I said, obviously it looks like that, the area of landfall is mostly centralized right across portions here of Nova Scotia on the western flank, as we've been kind of talking about here for the last little bit. So seems like Nova Scotia is going to take the hit on this one. I mean, obviously the cone still has it going as far west as, just barely scraping in the main, the center of the storm anyways. The effects are going to be felt a lot further out of the cone. Yeah, so don't let that cone fool you. That's not where the effects are going to be felt. That's where the center of the storm is going to be, somewhere in this center here, somewhere in this cone, is kind of what we're looking at. What's up, Rainbow Obsidian? Hope you're doing good. Glad to have you here. Let's see. Rainbow says Halifax areas should make it out okay for rainfall and wind. Let's hope. They'll be rainy this weekend. Today is at least 101 millimeters of rain will fall in Nova Scotia. Yeah, a lot of the Northeast has been getting hit by some serious rain here over the last little bit in general. Obviously, Halifax, we got to definitely be looking out here for it. Whenever it comes back to that rainfall potential, they actually have areas here by Halifax getting up right around 2 to 4 inches. Not too far. Yeah, really not too far away from areas here near 4 to 6. So I'm going to go ahead and hop you guys over here back to the main screen overall. But you can actually see here, that Halifax is right in here. We're talking, that range of 2 to 4 inches right now, is kind of what we're expecting here in general. How close will this, let's see, hurricane make... Wait, what? How close is the hurricane to China, Maine? Let me look. I don't know exactly where China, Maine is at, but I can probably figure that out for you. Let's see here. Let me go ahead and actually bring this up for you guys here. I'm going to hop you all over here. So you said China, Maine? Let's see here. Oh, here we go. China, Maine. Never heard of that place. Okay, so yeah, that's going to remain to your east. The center of it's going to remain to your east. However, I will show you something. I will actually show you something very interesting. So whenever it comes to the blend of models, like I was talking about, whenever it comes to the, the wind gust, the max expected wind gust, whenever it comes to the blend here, let me actually show you just how strong those winds could get up to across some of those regions. Actually, I'm going to localize this to Maine specifically. So let's go ahead and hop you guys over here. So this is according to the blend of models overall. I mean, we're talking, areas out there probably going to be experiencing 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts overall across Maine. I mean, most of Maine, mostly for these areas of Maine is going to experience possibly, 40 to 50, mile per hour wind gusts being possible. Like I said, obviously, over here, it's still going to be pretty gusty. Don't get me wrong, probably more 30 to 40 in the range there overall. But out there towards, where you're talking about China, Maine, we're talking, a good shot at maybe seeing those winds possibly up to 40 to 50 miles per hour, wind gusts, I should say, in terms of what the winds could be, completely gusting up to here in general. Then whenever it comes more down to the south out there, like I said, obviously, we're going to be seeing some pretty hefty wind gusts by Cape Cod. It looks like the heaviest is going to be right around 8 a.m., we're talking, just off the coast here, probably over 60 mile per hour wind gusts being an open possibility. And you can actually see how areas here by like Long Island, we're talking, maybe the 10s to 20s. I mean, at absolute most, I'd say up to 30 mile per hour wind gusts can't be ruled out, but it seems like the majority of the blend here is talking right around 20 overall. So, that is kind of what we are seeing here in the latest verdict here with all the winds. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you guys can kind of see this a little bit better. I mean, so obviously the areas that are going to really feel those winds in general is pretty much going to be in these regions over here. Pretty much in these areas. Now, like I said, obviously, yeah, we are going to feel a little bit of winds. I mean, otherwise, across portions here of the Mid-Atlantic, into Pennsylvania, it's going to be a little windy across some of those regions, but not as bad as it's going to be across like Maine. Like I said, obviously Maine is going to get some pretty hefty winds out there. It looks like by the afternoon of the 16th in general. Definitely could be pretty gusty out there overall. So we'll definitely need to be, watching out for the winds. Like I said, there's a lot of trees out there, which, the trees still have their leaves on it. That's what's different from a nor'easter and this hurricane. Is nor'easters, obviously the trees are all, stripped of their leaves. There's nothing, there's like no drag, hardly any drag with this, the winds. But whenever you introduce a lot of trees that still have a lot of leaves on them, and you get the winds that blow, it actually causes more drag on the trees, which could easily make it snap more than rather a nor'easter, if that makes sense. But it's just the season that we're in makes it a little bit more dangerous in general. But like I said, yeah, that's kind of what we're seeing here. I mean, obviously up to 60 mile per hour wind gusts as of right now, according to things up here towards Cape Cod, seems to be a good possibility here in general. So that is definitely something we need to prepare for in general. As like I said, a lot of hefty winds out of the system. here overall. And like I was explaining here, guys, back over here to the warning cone and stuff like that, we actually do have ourselves, or over a cone here, I should say, we do have warnings now issued for portions of Cape Cod. Like I said, we're talking tropical storm warnings in place for Cape Cod here, where tropical storm conditions is expected. We have more tropical storm warnings down south towards Bermuda. Bermuda and Cape Cod are the only areas right now with warnings for the system here in general. I mean, obviously, we have ourselves some tropical storm watches that go basically from central Maine's coast all the way down to basically Rhode Island's coast there. Those are all tropical storm watches. Same thing for portions here of East Newfoundland, as well as central coastal Nova Scotia. Here in general, we have some tropical storm watches, meaning that tropical storm conditions is possible down in time, which I do expect those to turn to warnings. Now, like I was explaining here, we got ourselves some hurricane watches in place across these areas here. In the pink there, that's showing where hurricane conditions are possible. But like I said, I'm a little skeptical about that. I'm not sure if they're going to issue warnings for hurricane. I mean, obviously they probably could, but I'm not saying they're not going to 100%. But what I'm just a little concerned about is that, you know, this system is right on the teeter-totter of being a tropical storm and being a Cat 1 hurricane by the time it reaches these areas. For example, let me go ahead and hop you guys back over here to the main cone from what we got here. Like I said, obviously to be classified as a hurricane, it must have winds of at least 75 miles per hour. And whenever it comes out here, we're talking, you know, sustained winds of 65 with gusts getting up to 75 out here. And obviously that's below hurricane strength. So that's right around the time of landfall. Now, this thing could definitely, you know, keep up a bit of, strength as it rolls, you know, through, or starts to go towards the Gulf of Maine, I should say. I mean, because right around here for the morning of the 16th, I mean, we're talking, you know, still Cat 1, but low-end Cat 1. I mean, literally any lower mile an hour sustained would drop this from a Cat 1 to a tropical storm. So, you know, like I was saying, I don't know if they're going to issue those warnings or not. I kind of feel like they might just have tropical storm warnings. That's what I think. I mean, obviously, if the warnings do come out, it's possible. I'm not saying it's going to be impossible, but I really think it's just going to mostly say tropical storm warnings overall, or tropical storm conditions overall for the most of these people. Let's see here. Good afternoon, Don. Hope you're doing good. Let's see. We're 12 miles northeast of Halifax. The neighborhood is calm, and warnings have been limited. Let's see. It's only the international media that's making this storm to be. Yeah. So it's, you know, obviously you definitely got to be watching out for this out there. I mean, like I said, in Halifax, I mean, y'all are gonna get some surging out there for sure. You know, that's gonna be one of the main concerns out there by the coastline for you guys is, you know, the rising of water due to the winds pushing inland. That is going to cause, you know, the water levels to rise. And like I was explaining here, for the U.S. in general, whenever it comes to our surges out here, you know, we are talking surging being a pretty decent concern. I mean, mostly kind of mild for a lot of places, but, you know, these are also areas that don't typically see surging too much. I mean, obviously you get nor'easters that can cause surging, but in general here, like I was saying, though, is it seems like Cape Cod, and we're talking 2 to 4 foot of storm surge out there. We're talking, you know, 1 to 3 foot of surges across the entire coast of Maine, as well as the coast of New Hampshire here. We're talking eastern Massachusetts, still talking 1 to 3. I mean, even Long Island, like we were explaining here. I mean, Long Island's going to have some extent of, you know, some degree, I should say, of, you know, storm surge. So 1 to 2 foot above sea level. You know, water being pushed inland is expected out there on the southern side. And like I said, whenever you take a look at it for areas here between Connecticut's coast, it's a little higher, actually. We're talking 1 to 3 foot of surges being a possibility. So the surges are going to be basically felt from Long Island up to the tippy top of Maine here. You know, between these regions here, obviously in the coastline, this is where we're going to be feeling those surges across the region. What's up, Crystal? Saying, let's see, hi, just stopped to say hi. I have to go to work, so see ya. All right, well, thanks for stopping by, Crystal. I appreciate it, and I hope you have a good day. That's for sure. But anyways, let's go and hop back over here to the rainfall in general. Let's go and see what we got going on here. Oh my gosh, dude, this little piece of hair is driving me nuts. Come on. Dude, I'm about to, like, next live stream, I'm probably going to have a haircut. I'm going to go get me a haircut later. Let's see, nice glasses. Thank you, I appreciate it. But anyways, like I was saying here, though, you know, with the latest and greatest, you know, accumulations here from the Weather Prediction Center, you know, we're talking, you know, 2 to 4 inches of rainfall, you know, to fall across portions here of central, kind of eastern Maine, portions, obviously, of Cape Cod, you know, 2 to 4 inches. That's a decent amount of rain, actually. It is actually a decent amount of rain in general. But look at this. Here's the latest they've added, though, is for the extreme eastern side of Maine. We're talking possibly even up to 4 to 6 inches of rainfall, which is, you know, definitely a lot of rainfall, and that would definitely cause some flooding. I mean, not to mention we have some surging, some more water is going to be pushed inland, plus on top of that the rainfall, so there's going to be some coastal flooding for sure across a lot of the Northeast here. Once again, all the way from New York State, or sorry, from New York, New York City, all the way up to portions here of Maine could definitely experience the possibility of a little bit of surging, so that's something to watch out for. How are the buoy cameras looking? Or did you already see them? So we do got a couple buoy cams. Let me actually go ahead and hop you all over to one of them. So we got one that's in the kind of middle tropical storm force. Oh my gosh, look at the waves there. Holy cow. Looks a little scary out there. Man, oh man. It's that one frame right there. Look at that. The waves look a little rough out there. Look at that, gusts getting up to 62 with sustained winds of 49 right now, according to that buoy. This is just on the left-hand side of the system here. We have Bermuda. We got a couple out here in Bermuda. I don't think this. Yeah, these ones don't have the cameras on them. We have one down here to the southwest. It looks a little choppy out there. Yeah, you can see some white caps. So it's definitely a little choppy. But the good news is that we're going to have a lot of buoys whenever we get to the point of landfall. So we'll be able to get a lot of information. We'll be able to collect a lot of data on the storm as it rolls through these regions. So whenever I do go live for the morning of Saturday, we'll definitely be able to have some good views of the storm here in general. So I'll make sure to have you guys in that. Actually, I think I have a camera in Bermuda. Pretty sure I do. Hold on a minute, y'all. Let's see here. I'm pretty sure I have a camera up here in Bermuda. I used to have it for old tropical weather coverage we used to do a long time ago. I might still have it available. Let's see here. I don't know if it's going to work or not. I'm trying to get it to load. Might be down. Yeah, unfortunately might be down here. Yeah, right now it's just a big loading screen. Well, that sucks. that was one of the cameras we always use whenever it comes to Bermuda. They might have even lost power, actually. That's probably why it's not wanting to work. Is they very well could have lost power, from the winds and stuff, which, really is not surprising. Really not too surprising in general. I mean, look at the wind field on this thing, guys. This is what I was explaining to y'all. That's Bermuda. So the red, that's where hurricane force winds are at, or where they were at some point. Right now, obviously, they're in this region. But the yellow is where tropical storm force conditions were at here. Like I said, in the current time being, though, that is the state of the storm. So you can obviously see we have those tropical storm force conditions all across this. I mean, seriously, look how large this is, though. I mean, I don't think y'all realize the magnitude of how large this really is. Let me actually bring this up to you guys over here. So let me actually measure this and show you. So obviously this is the beginning of the tropical storm force conditions across the blue. And if I was to measure this here from west to east, look at that, 500 miles wide. Tropical storm conditions are extended 500 miles wide, which is ridiculous. And let's measure Texas, for example. We're going to go from west coast to... So from west coast to east, or from as far as we can go. So from the tip of Texas to over here, that's how big the storm is in comparison to Texas. It's pretty big. It's a pretty big monster. It is a big monster, and it's actually picking up size too, picking up more size. In terms of the hurricane force winds, right now we're talking about 175 miles roughly, wide in general. So that's where the hurricane force winds are being felt right now, which is definitely a very large area as well, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, like I was explaining though, is that those are definitely going to be pretty large. We're going to have some very large effects up there as this thing continues pulling north here in general, which definitely is going to be a bit interesting overall. Let's actually hop over to some models. Actually, I'm curious to see what the latest models have talked about here in general. We haven't talked about the models too much right now, or in this live stream. I don't think we did talk about the models yet. But let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go ahead and hop you guys over here to this. And let's go ahead and do that. So, okay. So whenever it comes to the storm, the GFS model, you can see there's Nova Scotia right there. So the latest GFS has it making landfall in western Nova Scotia between, basically right around 2 o'clock Eastern. 2 p.m. Eastern is kind of what it looks like. Maybe around, I'd say more, maybe towards 5. because between those 2 points, right around 2, 3, 4 o'clock Eastern time is kind of when we're, seeing the possible landfall according to that. Yeah, I mean, look at this. The GFS model, you can see all of those winds just crashing against the shoreline. And like I said, that's going to allow for some serious swelling to occur. There's going to be a lot of surges across there. Not exactly how tall the surges are going to be out there by Nova Scotia, considering the National Hurricane Center only does the U.S. I can't tell you those numbers, but I guarantee you they're higher than 2 to 4 foot. They're definitely going to be pretty big out there in terms of surging, so expect that. Overall, you can actually see areas here by Cape Cod. I mean, according to GFS, I mean, it looks like those winds have died down a little bit according to GFS in general, but still kind of right around 40 knots or so, which is, low-end tropical storm force, according to the American GFS model. Something I wanted to show you, though, is the fact that there is going to be a lot of dry air with this system here. I mean, look at this. So whenever it comes down to it, you can see the bluish green. That's showing where all that precipitation, all that moisture is at. And you can see across the brown, that's where it's really dry. That's where there's like hardly any precipitation. It's just a very dry amount of air just getting sucked its way up here into the right-hand flank of the storm, which that's going to help, obviously. I think that's going to allow for those rainfalls to be a little bit less across Nova Scotia, especially the eastern side. But meanwhile, the west, I think, is going to get the heaviest. I'd even say that, western or eastern Maine, I'd say... I'd say the eastern Maine is probably going to experience some of the heaviest amount of rain right now. And like I was explaining here from the current Hurricane Center, they have it projected here to be right around 4 to 6 inches in general, being a possibility out there. So definitely got to keep an eye out there for that. Like I said, they have Nova Scotia right now, talking about 4 to 6 inches as well across the yellow. That could possibly change. I mean, obviously, I expect this whole thing to change by the time we get closer and closer to making landfall here. I mean, landfall is not, still about 2 days exactly. We're about 2 days away from landfall at this point here. And so, obviously, there's definitely a little bit of time for those rainfall totals to change, and I do expect them to because, it seems like every single update we have here, it seems like there's some type of big difference. Like I said, obviously, the last update, they just introduced this 4 to 6 inch marker across eastern Maine versus compared to what we've seen here, obviously last night. So the rains have increased, obviously, increased in general. So that's something to keep an eye out there for overall. Let's go ahead and bring y'all back over here to the... I'm going to bring this back over here. But let's go ahead and bring you guys over here back to the models here. I want to go ahead and talk more about those in general. So we had the GFS, like I said, obviously showing the heaviest effects out there, making landfall across western Nova Scotia. Another one is the ECMWF, really very, very similar. Very similar. The ECMWF has the same thing happening, making that west coast landfall right around the, late afternoon, early evening hours here of the 16th. Of course, like I said, obviously having the heaviest precipitation kind of around the center and just mostly to the west, but the eastern side is hardly going to have any of those, in general. So, like I said, I feel like, the rain totals may drop, be pretty low across the far eastern side of Nova Scotia. you're probably going to experience some rain, but, whenever it comes to it, it looks like it's a lot of dry air that's just going to get sucked its way into the storm here overall. Let's see here. Another model we have is the, CMC's not done there. We have the Icon model, which Icon shows the exact same thing. Let me actually zoom this into the northeast so it's a little easier to see. Yeah, Icon shows the exact same thing. It actually shows areas by Cape Cod experiencing maybe up to 45 knots, which is, like I said, lower in tropical storm force. Obviously we have those tropical storm warnings here at this point, which basically is saying that we are expecting tropical storm conditions to occur across those regions. And like I said, not just the winds there, but the rain, could be up to 2 to 4 inches across areas here by Nantucket. Obviously Cape Cod, into central portions here of Maine. And like I was explaining here with the surges overall, we're talking 1 to 2 foot of surging across the southern side of Long Island, 1 to 3 foot of surging being expected across areas here, south of, kind of right there for the coast of Connecticut. Rhode Island, 1 to 3 foot as well. Nantucket, though, 2 to 4 foot of surges, as well as Cape Cod. So obviously, like I said, what surges is basically, in this case, we'll take Cape Cod for an example, basically, 2 to 4 foot of water being pushed inland. So 2 to 4 foot above sea level water being pushed inland. So that is going to basically cause a bit of coastal flooding. I'd even say possibly coastal erosion too, because, like I said, these areas here hardly get these type of systems. So those beaches are going to be prone to maybe a little bit of erosion from this in general. you know, like I said, it's definitely a possibility. I mean, I'm not ruling it out or anything. And like I was explaining here, for the entire coast of Maine, including the little itty bitty coast for New Hampshire, you know, we're talking about, you know, 1 to 3 foot of surges being a possibility. And you know, like I was explaining though too, is that, you know, I really believe that Nova Scotia's surges are going to be higher. I'm not exactly sure of what the exact, you know, what the exact amount or the exact number is going to be here overall. Let me bring you guys back over here. I might be able to figure it out. Let's see here. I may be able to, here we go. I might be able to figure it out. I have the Canadian Hurricane Center up here now. Okay, so here's a site from the Canadian Weather Center here. You can see, see, I have not used this. I have not used this at all yet. So let's see, hurricane. So yeah, it's supposed to turn tropical storm as soon as it approaches there. As soon as it makes landfall, it's going to be, you know, up into upper tropical storm force. I don't think. Let's see here. I don't think there's going to be forecast. Maybe. Let's see here. Weather watches and warnings. I'm curious to see. Here we go. Interactive map, maybe? What does this do? Severe thunderstorm. Okay. Anyways, I just wanted to look that up. I guess we can't really figure that out right now. But in general, I do expect those surges to be a lot, you know, a lot higher across some of those regions there. Let's see here. TRG says, remember to smash the like button. We have 55 likes and 250 people watching. Thank you, TRG. Let's see here. Red Road says, thank you for keeping everyone updated. You're very welcome. You guys are very welcome. I care about y'all. We want you guys to be safe. So I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure y'all are up to date with the latest info and all of that fun stuff. But anyways, I don't think we talked about its current state. If we did, we barely mentioned it. So right now, like I said, it is a, you know, Category 1. It just got downgraded this morning from a Cat 2 to a Cat 1. We're talking sustained winds now of 90 miles per hour with gusts still getting pretty hefty up to 115. Still some pretty hefty gusts out there. Pressure has increased about 4 millibars, or about 5 millibars actually. Last time I remember it was at the 951 mark. I think it's, now it's at 956. So the pressure's increased, meaning the system's weakening, but it's also growing in size too. So it's dispersing the pressure over a larger distance in general now. Anyways, but yeah, like I said, it's expected to remain a Category 1 for the next couple of days here. You know, as it approaches here for the morning of Saturday here for the 16th, you know, we're talking, you know, still a Cat 1, sustained winds of 75 with gusts up to 90 here. But like I said, as it approaches closer to Nova Scotia, it looks like it's going to be downgraded from a hurricane into a tropical storm. I mean, like I was explaining here, I mean, we do have hurricane watches that is in place here for those regions. Let me go ahead and hop you guys back over here. So, like I was explaining here, across the pink, these are all hurricane watches. So this includes, obviously, you know, the western side of Nova Scotia as well as pretty much central northern Maine, or sorry, central northern coast, I should say, of Maine here, or on the eastern side. Oh, is that northern or east? I'd say eastern. So eastern side, eastern coast of Maine, to the far northeast, I should say. But those yellow, or sorry, those pink areas here, those are hurricane watches, meaning that hurricane conditions are possible. Like I said, it's going to be right on the teeter-totter between upper tropical storm and lower Cat 1. That's kind of what it seems to be in terms of intensity as of right now. Of course, we have ourselves, you know, across the blue, these are tropical storm warnings, where tropical storm conditions is expected. So Cape Cod, you guys had better be preparing for this right now. Like I said, obviously, if you live on the coast of Cape Cod, just expect there to be some pretty nasty winds, some pretty decent swelling, as well as a lot of rainfall. So expect that. Like I said, just make sure that you're prepared for it. And overall, just, you know, have your food, water, obviously have, you know, flashlights with extra batteries, and, you know, portable chargers, all that stuff, just to make sure you guys are, you know, preparing for this. And like I was explaining here too, we have a lot of yellow here too. This is a tropical storm watches, showing where tropical storm conditions are possible, including portions here, obviously, you know, all the way down from Rhode Island's coast up to central Maine. And of course, we have ourselves, you know, central Nova Scotia out there towards Halifax, as well as basically central eastern New Brunswick here. That's kind of what we are seeing here whenever it comes to those tropical storm watches, meaning that, like I said, tropical storm conditions is possible. And of course, like I said, we have Bermuda. Bermuda's in kind of the heat of it right now. Bermuda is experiencing tropical storm force winds at the moment, as we do have tropical storm warnings in place, as those conditions are expected here overall. So that's that, my friends. That's kind of what we're looking at. Once again, here's the surges from the U.S. Perspective. Like I said, I wish I could pull up the Canadian. I'll see if I can find the Canadian storm surges for the next update live stream, which will be later on this evening. I'll see what I can do. I'll have to do some research and to look and see what kind of surges we're talking. But at least for the U.S. for now, we can tell you guys that we're talking 2 to 4 foot of surges across Cape Cod, so 2 to 4 foot above sea level water being pushed inland here. Like I was saying here, basically from eastern Massachusetts through coastal New Hampshire and in through the entire coast of Maine, 1 to 3 foot of storm surge is expected there as well. So we could expect a bit of swelling out in those regions too. Even, like I said, as far down south, as far down southwest as, Long Island here, we're talking the southern extent here, talking right around 1 to 2 foot of surges, which is, nothing extreme, but it's definitely, it's definitely impactful. So especially for those areas that are, people on the beach and stuff, the water's going to be a little bit higher than normal. So 1 to 2 foot of surges out there could be possible. Same thing for, like I said, obviously northern side. Actually, northern side has a potential of 1 to 3 foot right there by the coast of Connecticut in general. And like I was explaining here, 2 to 4 across Cape Cod. Also, I can't take I also got to take in consideration Nantucket too. 2 to 4 foot of surges is going to be a possibility as well. So, like I said, those regions are going to be experiencing the surges as of right now, the heaviest. We'll see as the system gets closer. Who knows? They might get upgraded or not. But right now I feel like we're pretty solid on what we got going on right now. So, yeah, we'll just monitor that. Obviously, if it changes, we'll let you guys know in the future updates and stuff like that. Like I said, here's back over here to the rainfall projections in general. For Nantucket and Cape Cod, we're talking right around 2 to 4 inches of rainfall occurring. Obviously, whenever you go into Maine, basically central eastern Maine, we're talking at least 2 to 4 inches of rainfall. Now, for the extreme eastern side of Maine, right there for the the far eastern coast, we're talking, like I said, 4 to 6 inches of rainfall being a possibility. That's kind of where I believe the heaviest rainfall is going to be. Obviously they have Nova Scotia and 4 to 6 as well, but I really feel like these areas are going to experience some of the heaviest rainfall because, like I was explaining here, back over if we look at the models, back over here, we're going to be getting a lot of dry air to actually drive its way into the storm here, which I'm going to go ahead and switch you all to the full screen here to kind of show you what I'm talking about in general. As you can actually see right there. So the system, obviously the bluish kind of color is showing a lot of moisture. The kind of brownish tan color that shows a lot of dry air, and you can see as the system pulls north, we got this high pressure system, this big air mass, and it's just going to suck in a lot of that dry air from the high pressure system and just going to allow for the eastern flank to be mostly dry while the western side is still soaking wet. And like I said, that leads me to believe that those areas here by Maine and portions here of Massachusetts will experience the heaviest rainfall in general because, like I said, that dry air is going to be pulling onto the east side, pushing all of the rain to the west, essentially, which, that would definitely allow for more rain over here and maybe less rain for Nova Scotia. I think that's a good possibility in general. So, like I said, that's something to keep an eye out there. All the models support this. This is pretty much a given thing. Pretty much a given sentence right now is that, we will see dry air to some extent here. And you can even see here on the overall verdict here from some of these models. You can see the heaviest rainfall is expected here on the western flank overall. You can't see the eastern side, which, let me actually full screen this. But comparing to the eastern flank, you can see how it's a lot lighter precipitation versus out on the western side. So it's definitely going to be a bit more heavy on that side in general. Let's see here. Tropical storm should be a breeze inland, says KN11. Let's see. Upper tropical storm. Like I said, do not let that fool you, though. Like I said, it's going to be nearly Category 1, if not Cat 1 upon landfall. And, like I was explaining, you guys get nor'easters all the time. I get it. You guys get a lot of nor'easters and stuff. But here's the thing. During winter, like I was explaining here, during the winter season, you guys obviously don't have any leaves on your trees. There's no leaves on your trees or anything like that. There's less drag on your trees. Not to mention, as a nor'easter, you get a lot of snow and not rain. So whenever it comes to it, like I said, you're getting a lot of rain, which is basically softening up the ground. We still have a lot of leaves on our trees, which is going to allow for more drag from the winds. The winds are going to be dragging more on the trees, going to cause them to fall over. And obviously trees falling is a big danger, you know, falling on houses, cars, people. I mean, it's not good. So that's why we're saying this is not very good in general, you know. So like I said, this is why it's a little bit more serious than your typical nor'easter. I mean, yeah, the wind-wise, I mean, the wind-wise is going to be right around the same as, you know, some nor'easters we do see across these regions. But, you know, like I was explaining, though, is the fact that the trees and more, you know, obviously power outages and all kinds of things are going to be an impact here. So, I mean, it's definitely going to need to be watched in general. I mean, looks like it could definitely be very impactful for a lot of these regions. Let's see here. That was when Hurricane Lee was a Cat 4 or 5 since heading north, weakening due to cooler temperatures. Yeah, I guess are you responding to Dylan? Yeah, Dylan was asking, have I seen the lightning inside of Lee's eye wall? Yeah, I don't think there's any lightning right now. At least I haven't checked, but I wouldn't expect it considering it's on a weakening trend right now. I would definitely say it's probably it's gonna be weakening from here on out to some degree. You know, it's gonna be slow, gradual weakening from here on out because I mean, right now it's in warm waters, yes, but you know, we're having increasing wind shear right now, starting to kick up on the storm, as well as you know, dry air here. Eventually, we're gonna start to get a lot of dry air pulling into the system overall, which is, you know, like I said, definitely going to hurt the storm in general. But yeah, but it's not expected to strengthen any more than what it is right now. Anyways, but like I was explaining though, you know, we're expecting landfall kind of for the late afternoon, early evening here of the 16th. Overall, it seems like the average of the models. As we work away over to Prince Edward Island here, kind of for the morning of the 17th, we're still talking potentially, you know, 50-mile-per-hour sustained winds with gusts up to 65 in general. And of course, whenever it comes to areas here just northeast of Newfoundland, you know, we're still talking here by the morning of the 18th, maybe still potentially, you know, 40 sustained with gusts up to 50. At this point, it'll be post-tropical, and then it's just going to get sucked up into the Arctic Circle. So that's kind of, you know, what we're seeing here with this system in general. But that's that. I will put to attention that you guys, we do have another system that's kicking off here in the Atlantic. From what it seems like right now, it might be just a fish storm. You know, it seems to be a good possibility because it seems like it pulls really far to the north in its early stages. So that could mean that it's going to be, you know, right in the boundary of, you know, maybe a fish storm or whatnot. I mean, it's obviously still going to need to be investigated. I mean, it's an invest here. We still need to watch out for it. But you can kind of see how some of the ensembles has this thing pulling up further deeper into the ocean here. It does actually have the system becoming quite strong, actually. I mean, this thing's more than likely going to become a hurricane at some point in its life here. Obviously, we got some more ensembles. I mean, some of them pull west and some of them pull north. Like I said, it's a little bit unknown right now, but it seems like it's getting a really strong northerly start to its beginning. And usually, whenever you typically see these northerly trajectories, most of the time they usually pull out to sea if they're this far north. So, I mean, like I said, that's what I believe. I think it could pull north, but we'll see how that plays out in general. Let's go and hop over back to Lee, but I want to take a look at the spaghetti models here. We got a little bit of a glitch on the spaghetti models, as you can probably tell here. Whenever it comes to it, you can see obviously we have gradual, you know, pretty decent, you know, agreement here overall. The system pulls north, and then of course, like I said, it obviously goes out to sea. So obviously, yeah, we're in a pretty good agreement between the spaghetti models here. And then of course we have this one weird model that just goes, it just kind of really does some funky stuff. Just some model glitching, but you know, overall they're pretty much in agreement mode for the most part. Let's see here with the intensity guidance here. You know, obviously, like I said, just gradual weakening is expected at this point. I mean, there's one or two models that has it maybe picking up a little bit of strength, which I don't think it will. I think it's just going to be downgrading from here on out here in general. Let's see here. Oh, just got a new update from the Hurricane Center. Here we go. Let's see here. Advisory 37. Oh my gosh. Advisory 37. Just shows you how long this system has been a thing for. It's been a really long system. Large wind field moving northward over western Atlantic. Dangerous surf and rip currents affecting most of the east coast of the United States. Yep. That's the thing. Like we were warning you guys about is those rip currents. Rip currents and, you know, overall surf is a big danger out there. You know, that's not good. Not good. Let's see here. What are the water temps by New England? Where is Lee at right now? So, in the current stage, let's go and hop you guys over here to the analysis. Do Western Atlantic. Well, I might have to do North Atlantic to get up there. Here we go. So up there by, Nova Scotia and all, we're talking, anywhere from 12 to 18 degrees Celsius waters, which is very cold. For tropical systems, they have to have at least 26 degrees Celsius waters and warmer. So obviously, yeah, it's just a little bit cold, too cold up there for the system. The storm right now is located like right in here. That's kind of where the storm is at right now. And like I said, it's gradually pulling up here to the north. It's going to be doing something like this. But yeah, that is that is kind of what we're looking at here. But once it passes over the mid-Atlantic line here, it pulls north of the Gulf Stream. Then it's going to obviously rapidly weaken because it doesn't have enough warm waters. It's going to be running into a lot of dry air that's going to be sucked its way up here into the cyclone from the mid-Atlantic, as well as, like I was explaining, the cold front that we just had roll through, which is steering the storm. Pushing those winds really strong on the western side. So from here on out, it's basically just going to be a weakening factor with strong winds, dry air, and cooler waters. All factors are becoming more of a problem for the storm. So it's going to start to struggle as it pulls north, in which it's already starting to, it looks like, just a bit. I mean, you can already see on the southern flank here, I mean, we have a lot of dry air on the southern side of the storm already, which is an indicator that we're starting to get a lot of that dry air actually starting to push its way into the storm here overall. You can see most of the convection, most of the rain activity is right there still in the center, but kind of on the central and north central side. Like I said, explaining though, what I was saying again though, is like I said, we have a lot of that dry air pulling its way in here, which, that's going to be hurting the storm in general, because, tropical systems, they need a lot of moisture, they need a lot of, water, and stuff like that, which they're not really getting too much of right now, or starting to kind of dwindle down a bit, But anyways, yeah, that's the current satellite view. I just wanted to mention that. I don't know if we have hurricane. We do. We have hurricane hunters that are in it right now. We have one that finished. Let's see here. Latest and greatest. Oh, wow. Look at that. So they just flew into it. Gradual increase in pressure. Look at this. Went from 956 to 957 to 958. We're literally going up. So the pressure is increasing, which means the cyclone is weakening. So obviously, yeah, there's already factors. I mean, there's already signs this thing is weakening here in general. Let me see what they got going on with this system right now. So let me pull it over here. So as they pass through the eye wall there, or the center, obviously, of the storm. Oh, there is no eye, but obviously you know what I mean. The center, where the eye wall would be. As they pass through, it looks like those winds are maximizing to right around 70 knots, which that is honestly a lot weaker than I thought. Hold on, let's see here. I mean, because it's probably dispersing a lot of its energy in its size rather than its speed. Let's see. So I just said 70 knots. Yeah, that's like 80 miles an hour. It's like 10 mile an hour short than what is currently warned for. Or what is currently stated as, I should say. Let's see here. The Rantman says, I just wanted to say thanks for always being here and covering these storms, brother. You're very welcome. Started watching you for Hurricane Ian coverage. You earned my sub within minutes of coverage. Oh, I appreciate it, Rantman. Thank you so much, dude. You're very welcome. Like I said, we care about y'all. I want to make sure you guys are being safe out there and prepared. That's what we care about. Like I said, obviously helping you guys out to whatever I can do. I mean, obviously I wanted to use my my knowledge in meteorology for the good. And obviously help out people as much as I can. But I really appreciate the kind words. Thank you so much, Rantman. Very sweet of you. Let's see. Where are the warnings and watches in effect? So we're going to hop you guys back over to the Hurricane Center. So right now, the warnings and watches are in effect across, obviously the Northeast. So whenever it comes to it right now, tropical storm warnings are in place for Bermuda, as well as Cape Cod. So just to get those tropical storm warnings out of the place, or just out there, that's where they're at right now. It's Cape Cod and Bermuda. Those are the only areas as of right now that has, tropical storm warnings. Same thing for like Nantucket, same things. But like I said, we have ourselves tropical storm watches in effect across these yellow areas here in general. This is where tropical storm conditions is possible, all the way basically from Rhode Island's coast up through central coastal Maine. We have more for, basically central eastern New Brunswick, central Nova Scotia here. In the yellow, like I said, tropical storm watches in place. And of course we have the pink here, which this is hurricane watches. Like I said, basically saying hurricane conditions possible. Like I was explaining though, I don't know if they're going to be able to, I don't know if those are going to actually turn into warnings at any point. They might just be turned into tropical storm warnings. I think it's a good possibility because like I was explaining here, the storm's going to be on that boundary between either upper level tropical storm or lower in Cat 1. So it's going to be right between that point of view. So obviously we're just going to need to monitor the progression of it. Personally, I don't think we're going to see, this is very bold of me saying this, but I really think that we are probably not going to see hurricane conditions out there across these regions. Like I said, even though they have hurricane watches, I get it. But like I said, it just weakens. I mean, there's so many limiting factors of this thing, just a continuous week. I mean, there's so many factors, I should say, that's just going to allow for this thing to just continue to weaken from here on out. And plus, with recon going in, it looks like it might be a little weaker than what we thought. Like I said, I don't know if those are going to materialize into hurricane warnings. But, you know, like I said, we do have hurricane watches in place, basically from central eastern coastal Maine throughout portions of, you know, the southwestern coast here of New Brunswick, as well as southwestern Nova Scotia out there. So that's where all the warnings and watches are at. Once again, we only have one set of warnings right now. For Bermuda is one of them. Obviously, Bermuda's in that tropical storm force wind field right now. That yellow is showing where the tropical storm force winds are at right now, and the red is showing where those hurricane conditions are at right now. So yellow, tropical storm conditions are at right now. Red, hurricane conditions. But yeah, like I was explaining though, is like I said, Bermuda currently under the tropical storm warnings because they're currently experiencing tropical storm conditions, as well as like I was explaining here, Cape Cod. It's very confident that you guys are going to get that tropical storm conditions overall. And like I was explaining here, I mean, it's also going to be a surge issue, too, for some of those regions out there in the Northeast. I mean, we're talking, you know, areas out here by Cape Cod. I mean, we're seeing 2 to 4 foot of storm surge being a good possibility in general. Same thing for Nantucket. You know, Nantucket, Cape Cod, you know, 2 to 4 foot of storm surge is expected out there. Basically all the way from Connecticut's coastline through Rhode Island, obviously, you know, moving into more of eastern Massachusetts, throughout New Hampshire's coast, and all the way up the entire coast here of Maine. We're talking about 1 to 3 foot of surging being a possibility. The lower side of, you know, obviously Long Island, we're talking about 1 to 2 foot of surges being a good possibility. But like I said, obviously the most heaviest surging is going to be mostly in these areas here of around 2 to 4 foot, being the expectancy overall. So, you know, like I said, obviously Nantucket, you know, Cape Cod Bay, obviously those regions, yeah, you guys have got to be looking out for it because it looks like that's going to be one of the most impacted areas here in the United States will be Cape Cod. Overall. And like I said, you know, with coastal flooding being a concern, I mean, there's also a threat for rainfall, you know, rainfall leading to some flooding as well. I mean, you know, right now from the Weather Prediction Center across those regions that's experiencing potentially 2 to 4 foot storm surge, we're also talking about 2 to 4 inches of rainfall being a possibility across some of those regions, you know, Nantucket, Cape Cod included, and that 2 to 4 inch margin actually reaches its way into central Maine as well. We actually do have an upgraded area here across eastern portions here of Maine where we're talking, you know, 4 to 6 inches of rainfall being a possibility overall. And like I said, for Nova Scotia, you know, it seems like the southwest side, you know, could get maybe 4 to 6. But like I was explaining, though, is that, you know, this system's going to be pulling in a lot of dry air that could seriously influence different totals in general. And I really do expect those rainfall totals to very much fluctuate over the next couple of days across, you know, obviously of these regions. You know, overall, I really do believe that the heaviest impacts are going to be felt across, you know, basically eastern Maine in general. That's what I really believe is in terms of the rainfall. The heaviest rain is probably going to be in eastern Maine rather than Nova Scotia. I mean, obviously, yeah, Nova Scotia is still going to get a decent amount of rain in general, more than likely. But, you know, that's just what I believe. That's just what I believe. I think that Maine's going to get the heaviest of it. Let's see here. Jay says, howdy, y'all. What's up? Hope you're doing good. Glad to have you. Glad to have you here. Hope you're doing good. But yeah, but like I said, guys, you know, that's basically what's going on right now with the system in general. Like I said, that was the, you know, the flooding and stuff like that, the storm surge. Like I said, bottom line, guys, is that you guys need to prepare for this thing now. You guys have got to be on the lookout for the system because, you know, like I said, this thing's going to be very, very impactful in general. And like I said, you know, we're going to do everything we can to help keep you guys prepared, keep you guys safe in general. You know, like I said, y'all matter. I love every single one of you guys, and I want you guys to be safe, and I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure you guys are getting the information you need in order to be prepared. So like I said, I'm going to do whatever I can. I'm going to be, you know, obviously covering this as it makes landfall. You know, obviously, we've been tracking this for the last 10+ days. And so it's coming down to the wire now that it's in life here as we are approaching portions here of the Northeast. So, you know, like I said, guys, you know, consider sharing this information out there. Share the channel. Tell your friends, family to subscribe. That way that they get the information as well. And that way, you know, that way they get updated. You know, obviously, the more people we can bring in here, the more lives we can potentially save here, and more people we can help out in general. That's obviously the main goal. That's the whole reason of this channel, is to make sure that you guys are ready to go and make sure that you guys are getting the information overall. Let's see. On satellite, it currently looks like it's moving a little bit more northwest now. Let me look at the satellite view. Let me look. Actually, zoom out a little bit. See, so we obviously, it looks like it's directly pulling to the north here overall. I think it's directly moving north. I mean, because obviously, yeah, yesterday it started curving from the northwest, and now it's starting to pull its way up here to the north. Um, yeah, no, I think it's still on. It's definitely still on track. Let's see here. I have to get back to it. Thank you. See you later. See you later, Don. See you later. But like I said, yeah, there's the current satellite view since we're already on it. Like I was explaining, we have a lot of dry air that's starting to get sucked its way into the southern side of the storm, which the storm is not liking this right now. The storm is definitely not liking this overall. So, like I said, that's going to be one of the main things that's going to allow for the system in the weekend is the mixture of dry air getting sucked its way into the storm here. I mean, like I was going to show you real quickly, we're going to be heading off here in a few minutes, guys, by the way. We're almost at an hour here, and I got some things I got to do today. But like I was explaining, though, what we are seeing here, let's see, we're going to go back to the overall moisture and stuff like that. Like I was explaining here, you can actually see, I can actually bring it over there. Here we go. All right, so but what I was saying, though, is that, at the current state being, there's a little bit of dry air that's going to start pulling its way into the southern side, which it's already starting to do, but that's not a part of the big dry air that's expected. We're going to get a lot of dry air that's going to get sucked its way into, the southern side and eventually, ultimately, the eastern side of the storm, which, like I said, is going to allow for the system to rapidly weaken, not to mention it's running into cooler waters, which, obviously is going from tropical to post-tropical in general, and, that is that. That is essentially what we are seeing here in general. I mean, we got to really be looking out for this here. Winds are going to be pretty strong still. I mean, like I was explaining, I think the heaviest rain is going to be on the eastern flank, considering the dry air is going to really overtake the eastern side. Did I say eastern? It's going to be taking over the eastern side, but the most of the rain is going to be in the western flank, I should say, here in general. Let's see, the Ratman says, Andrew has a big heart and truly cares about all of us. You can't fake his sincerity in his voice. Well, thank you, dude. Yeah, like I said, I really do. Like I said, there's a lot of weather channels that are out there for the popularity and the money and stuff like that. Like I said, I really couldn't. I could care less for that. Like I said, all I care about is just making you guys safe. Like I said, I've always been that way since if you've known me. I've always been the one that one of those type people that helps out whenever I can. Like I said, obviously the support really does help out the channel and it helps me out, personally, but like I said, I never ask for anything. I never ask for donations. I never ask for any of that. If you ever hear me ask for donations, unsubscribe immediately. I'm never gonna say that. Like I said, obviously, I never ask for donations. I never ask for any of that. All I ask is that you guys, just maybe leave a like and subscribe and just share this. That way, it helps get out the word there, because that's all I'd ask for you guys to do. It's just to help us get the word out there, to help save more people, help more people in general. That's that. But anyways, like I was saying, guys, I mean, we are going to be heading off here pretty soon. So we've been live here for about an hour now. And I also feel like we got a lot of the information out there. So for the people who are just now joining us, like I said, obviously you guys can rewind to the beginning of the stream here. We actually have ourselves a new mission. Look at that. They're taking off from Lakeland, I think. I was actually in Lakeland for a while. No, that's not Lakeland, is it? That's too far south to be Lakeland. Yeah, that's like, Sebring area. Let's see. No, that might be Arcata. I think that's right in those regions. But anyways, we have a new Hurricane Hunter aircraft going out there right now. Interesting. Oh, starting to get some data from it already. Of course, we got this guy here too. Let's see. We got this one. So the pressure's been gradually increasing, which is showing good support that the system's weakening. Probably because it's taking in a lot of dry air right now. Probably not liking that. It's not liking that too much. Plus, it's dispersing its energy, like I said, out in size rather than the speed itself. Because like I said, it's using its energy to grow bigger rather than grow stronger, if that makes sense. It's kind of what it's doing that. Let's see here. Hope says, thank you for your coverage. You're very welcome. Very, very welcome. Christmas says, why I watch. Keep it up. Thank you so much, Christmas. Glad to have you here. But like I said, guys, I think that's going to wrap it up here for now. Once again, we'll be doing another live here tonight. Probably, I'm going to say right around 9 o'clock, maybe 8, 9 o'clock Eastern. Like I said, we'll do another update for you guys to keep you all informed with the system. We'll have new model information, new data coming through from the Hurricane Center, all of that stuff. So overall, we're going to have a lot more information coming through in general. But you know what? That's kind of what we're talking about. Oh, wow. Speaking of, before we head off here, they downgraded the winds down to what I was saying. Remember how I said it was about 10 mile an hour weaker than what we thought it was? It is now sustained at 180, or sorry, not 180. Whoa. It's sustained at 85 with gusts up to 115. So it dropped. I think it was at 95, wasn't it? Or 90. Was it? I forgot what it was at now. I think it was at 90. Well, it dropped anyways. It dropped a bit of speed because of that drier infiltration. So it's already starting to turn a little bit weaker in general here. But all right, you guys. Well, we're gonna go ahead and head over to what? We're gonna head over here to the ending screen. I talk too fast sometimes. It literally just like my voice or my mouth speaks faster than my mind can process things. So yeah, I do that a lot whenever I talk fast. Sorry. I don't even notice I do that sometimes, but what I was going to say here is that, we're going to head off here for now. We'll be back here in, a couple hours here from now. Like I said, probably 8, 9 o'clock Eastern time in general. We'll have to keep you guys informed. Like I said, we got to keep an eye out there for the other system as well. We'll keep this one on the back burner for now. I'm not too worried about the system right now. It seems like it might pull out the sea as a possibility. There's really not too much support on it right now. It's definitely going a little bit further north. Typically the storms that really pull to the north in the early stage, you usually get launched out to sea, but, we'll just have to watch out for that. But anyways, let's see here. Thank you for doing this. You're very welcome, Yo-Yo. Very, very welcome. And like I said, guys, if you've not already, please consider subscribing. Leave it a like. It'll be greatly appreciated. Like I said, obviously getting the word out there, y'all, it really means a lot to me, and it really obviously helps out people as well. So if you guys could help share the word, that would be greatly appreciated in general. But all right, you guys. Well, we're going to head off here in approximately 2 minutes. So go ahead and say goodbye to your friends and family because we are going to head off here for now. Once again, I appreciate all of you guys for joining us. I have to give a shout out to Liam for becoming a member today, or continuing to be a member, I should say. Thank you so much, Liam. Greatly appreciated. And all right, well, guys, y'all take care. Once again, thank you all for joining us, and we'll catch you guys here later on. All right, guys, peace out. We'll see you then.